everyone, thank you so much for tuning into my tarot channel today. My name is Paulina and I have an intuitive message for you. So this is for someone going through a divorce or breakup, or maybe it was a relationship that was like you were together so long it was like a common law marriage, and it's specifically a romantic breakup. So there will be other readings for friendship breakups or family breakups, but this is a romantic break. I'll tell you a little bit about my process. I found that sometimes before this starts, I start stuttering. But I see myself as an intuitive channel, and I get messages in a variety of ways, and am totally using my intuition for all of these readings. There's no plan, except throughout the day I will get nudges, and it feels uncomfortable if I don't put the message out there. I keep seeing these nudges, and then I feel relief once I put the message out there. So that tells me it's from, you don't have to analyze me, but in my experience, it's not my message, it is someone else's. It is meant also for me to, I watched some of these readings because there's things in there for me that I wasn't aware that I even said. So that's just a little bit about the channeling process. I feel like there's a reason I'm telling you this, probably. How I came to this divorce reading today was that the other day I was at a body near a river, a body of water. No, it was the ocean. I'm sorry. I think it was the ocean. And but I was on a bridge looking over a river near an ocean. Sorry, that's complicated. It's a lot of water. Okay, I'm a water sign. What can I say? So, I'm Scorpio. So, I saw these shapes, like, you know how when like light around water makes like circles, because of just the ripples of the current, and it looked like mini small mouths, and I thought it was really cool, and I was going to take a picture because I'm an artist, but then I was like, I just want to let that memory sit. It looked like a bunch of rings or mouths, and it stuck with me, and I thought it was so like symbolic of like voices wanting to be heard. And then sorry, excuse me, today I heard the word I'm twirling, and in Spanish the word to twirl is girar, which is from I believe a Greek word. I think it's gyro. Sorry. Anyway, it means to turn, and Spanish people might even use it in conversation, like let's turn the conversation. But I was seeing it as twirling, like someone's spinning in my mind. And then I was like, I really don't want to do this message right now. Like, I have other things I want to do. And then I felt this like desperate feeling, like, please, I need help, and this person needs help. So I'm sharing this message. So then I looked up. It also said that Giro could mean ring, the etymology of the word, which of course made me think of the Ouroboros. Maybe not of course for you, but that's what I think of. The Ouroboros is an ancient Greek symbol of a snake eating its tail. A lot of Greek themes. Maybe you're Greek, I don't know. And this snake eating its tail is a symbol of eternity. It's a symbol of death brings life, and that everything feeds into itself, and there is unity in the universe. All is one is all. It's a very beautiful and intense symbol because the serpent can have a negative connotation in some traditions, but in this context it's meant to be a symbol of really eternal life. And that is a pagan symbol. It's not related to Christ. So I'm not going to get into paganism and how a lot of their stories are similar to Christ's stories, especially the Egyptians. But anyway, we're not going to go there. We're not going to go there. Actually, I did get some Egyptian stuff today. Maybe we'll go there in a second. I'm going to try to stay on task for this message to come through. So the Ouroboros and the ring made me think of, I'm sorry, I'm going to take my inhaler. Maybe you need to slow down your breathing too. Maybe this is like, maybe you're having like some breathing problems. Maybe you feel like you can't breathe. Because I was going to say the ring was about, in my mind, clearly divorce and relationship. I don't know why I went first to divorce though. I could have thought of like a happy marriage, but I think since I saw the mouths the other day in the water, you know, I like really do believe in like what is it, tea leaf readings, and that you can do that in water. You can just look and see what image comes to mind, and it can be like foretelling of something that's going to happen. So there's a lot of ways to do future casting, but sometimes we don't have control as intuitives. It just kind of hits us. So those mouths were foreboding. So I felt like it was a voice that's not being heard. So there's something in you that's not being heard in this relationship. There's many selves within you that aren't allowed to speak. Whew. Isn't it fun being an asthmatic? So this person may have silenced you in some ways, this mate, or you felt silenced. Maybe dependence. There may be people that you may have children together, or you may just have animals together. That could be the mouths to feed. I was hearing this song "Walk Like an Egyptian" just out of nowhere earlier this morning, which is just funny and weird because I loved that song when I was a kid. I was just like a really weird kid, and I remember like doing the moves the Bangles did. That walk. If you're old, it's like "Walk Like an Egyptian," and then is it the Bangles that did that song? Anyway, I was like weird, and I thought I was funny when I was young, and I would like do weird, funny things to make my siblings laugh, and they were just like, "You're weird, get away from us." Yeah, so walk like an Egyptian, walk like an Egyptian. Why am I hearing that song? How did the Egyptians walk? They walked with a lot of, I would say, trepidation because of their circumstances. If we think of the Egyptian pyramids and how they were made. Okay, so the theme here is that you're afraid to let go, is what I'm going to say. The Ouroboros is about eternity, and that you're afraid that maybe you haven't been wearing your ring, maybe you've been married. I'm going to get back to what I was saying before also. But like, maybe the ring has been out of the picture for a while, or maybe you've seen yourself as not really with this person in theory. You're just like together. Maybe you're together for business purposes or like financial. Maybe you own a house together. Maybe there's a lot of assets and it feels too complicated to leave. And then maybe you feel guilt because you've got a lot of history, and you're feeling like if you end this, how can there be any other beginning? This is like a huge relationship for you. And the Ouroboros is meant to teach us the eternity, that with every death comes life. Of course, I'm seeing the Six of Swords card in my mind, and the Death card, which is a beautiful card because, you know, it gets a bad rep. Have you ever seen The Seventh Seal? I'm going to get back to the pyramids in a second. The Seventh Seal in that movie, which is by Ingmar Bergman, Death is a character that follows the main character. It's set during the plague, the movie of the Middle Ages, and he's this like terrifying figure, like Grim Reaper-esque figure that follows him and I think plays chess with him, and it's very obviously symbolic and metaphorical, but it's also you're afraid that if you end this, there will be nothing in your life you don't know how to start again. But I'm trying to tell you, your guides, your loved ones who've passed on are trying to tell you that you brought something to to the relationship, and what you bring is eternal. And all relationships are eternal too, is the message. Maybe this is not healthy. Maybe this is a toxic situation. Maybe the circle is a cycle as well. Maybe you're in a toxic cycle with this person, and you've felt like you can't get out of this circle. Maybe there's a circle of protection at one point, and now it's become toxic. So the walk like an Egyptian thing was, I know it sounds ridiculous, but I'm suggesting movement. I'm just seeing myself as a kid doing the dance moves to that music video. I think movement, some healing movement, and I'm actually going to guide us a little bit right now. So first we're going to do some, and the reason I'm suggesting this is because if we can move our bodies literally, then we might be able to make metaphorical, symbolic leaps in our mind that can create changes, and that can create bigger changes in our life. So let's do some movement just with our face and maybe our arms. We're going to do some facial yoga. This is, I think this is like a lion's thing. You're basically going to like stretch out your tongue and widen your eyes and like expand your face like this. Okay, no, it feels ridiculous, but you do that for a second and I'll wait. Okay, now we're gonna do scrunch up. And do it with your body, in particular your sphincter if you can, at the same time, and your feet. And then you're gonna let go of that tension. And then we're gonna open the jaw. And then we're gonna lower the head and go no, side to side, yes. Then we're gonna go this way. And then we're gonna give ourselves a facial massage. Okay? A lot of tension, I'm feeling a lot of tension that you're going through. I hope you're doing this too. I'm modeling what I want you to be doing. A lot of fear of change, feelings of failure. In our society, yes, I know it can be hard to be single. It can be hard to end a long relationship. It can be seen as a failure, but I'm also seeing the Ouroboros and the ring. Okay, I was gonna say Ring of Fairies. My grandmother believed in fairies. Literally. She was very Irish, like really Irish genetically. My maternal grandmother, but so there was like some folklore that like really Irish people do in some ways believe. Like she would like tell us stories about fairies and stuff, and that they have this magical power that's like otherworldly, and it really comes down to the paganistic beliefs of Ireland, of the Gaelic people, which is also not the British specifically, but that's related to the Egyptians, who also had gods and deities, just like the paganistic Gaelic people. And the ancient, okay, I was bringing up the pyramid and how it wasn't built in a day, okay? When did I say Rome isn't built in a day? The pyramid, they don't know how the pyramids were built, right? Just like they don't know how Stonehenge was really crafted. They don't really know. They can speculate. It seems miraculous. We were pretty sure it took a long time, the pyramids, and they had many like workers, like slave workers, or indentured servants sometimes working, bringing large loads up like pathways for many years. But honestly, it's a feat of like amazing like magic, and there's been the fact that things are so primitive makes it even more magical, and there's been a lot of like speculation about that location having like magical properties, healing properties. Oh, and a pyramid is specifically it's a triangle. It's not it has 3 sides. Wait, does the pyramid have? Yeah, it has 3 sides. So it's not a circle like whatever you're in. A triangle can suggest a third person in the dynamic. There may be a another person that you had an interest in, or that came between you, or there could be a person that maybe there was infidelity or even emotional affair that changed the dynamic between you. And yeah, I think that the best thing to do, what your higher self is telling me, like, I don't know the path. Maybe you're a hiker, maybe you're like someone who likes to go in the woods, and you like to know which trail. It kind of satisfies this OCD thing. Maybe you have one of those apps that shows you which way to go. The path is unknown. Now I'm seeing like a weather vane at the top of a house, you know, those old weather vanes. Following your inner direction, realizing there's other shapes. And maybe even the square is meaningful here, because the square is grounding, it's relating to the earth. So anything you can do right now that's grounding, embodied, maybe some more facial yoga, some more massage, and maybe some imagery of breaking outside of a circle, and actually even in just envisioning literal different shapes like a square or a triangle and what they symbolize. The square can represent earth and being grounded and being logical. The circle can obviously, which you're in, could be a circle of protection, but it could be a toxic circle, but it could be also a circle of rebirth and relife and renewal. New life, I mean. And then the triangle can be unity. It can also be about divinity and some, obviously the Holy Spirit, some people would say. There may be a third element to your path that you're not seeing. I don't know what that means. There may be some third, maybe a counselor, maybe marriage counseling could be helpful, even if you are divorced, to work through some of the logistics of how to mediation, to work through how you're going to part ways, because right now it may be too difficult to speak. So yeah, it was an intense reading. I feel a little overwhelmed, but thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a great day.